Hi, everybody. Oh, there we go. Good light. Welcome to the Rose Show. So named because I haven't found a better name for it yet. I've got some in the running, but we're gonna see what happens. I'm Rhonda Lee Jones, and this is my show that is meant to help give you some ideas, guide you in doing your thing, help you overcome, some common productivity things that get in the way, and fears and whatnot. And I need to apparently abolish the word and from my entire vocabulary. So I am I just want to let me put in my little disclaimer. This isn't meant to take the place of any sort of, professional advice, any therapy, that sort of thing, because I do go over, things that, a therapist could probably, you should probably be talking with your therapist about as well. But I'm just sharing with you what works for me, and that's it. I'm just your buddy, just letting you know, giving you a few ideas, things to try, and well, that's about it. Yeah, go see a counselor if you need to, and I think we all need to. Don't rely on me. This is mainly for educational, and no, this is completely for educational and entertainment purposes, and to give you ideas. It's all about life hacks, and it's going to be about me writing a better intro also this week. I'm really liking the light this week. I think show business is mostly about, searching for lights and outlets, power outlets. So let's get started. Procrastination is that's a big one. That's a big one. Who doesn't put things off all the time? I know I've been in a bad habit with that lately, so I'm having to. I do these episodes based on things that I'm working with in my own life at the time. I'm putting things off. I'm having to come up with ways to keep myself from doing that. So I think, well, I'll just tell everybody, what I've been doing, that has been working, or what I want to try, or what I have used in the past to help me overcome procrastination. So let's dig in. A lot of these are, I Google hacks, life hacks all the time. I'm constantly everybody so many people I follow on Instagram are people who have ideas, for, better ways of doing things. And I've heard so many things that I honestly don't remember. Some of these things I have made up myself, others I just remember hearing somewhere, honestly. Um, and some I use and some I don't. Okay, so the first one, if you Google scary hour, you might come up with a name there. That might be a title of something that belongs to someone out there. But what she recommends is that those tasks, those things that you have to do, whether on a daily or a weekly basis, that absolutely terrify you, chuck them all into a closed amount of time, so you don't have to think about them for the rest of maybe it's an hour a day, maybe it's an hour a week, but have that hour in the morning or have that hour on Saturday, whenever, when you do those tasks that scare you. And you can tell yourself, hey, it's going to be over in X amount of time. I don't do a scary hour. I don't. I have so many things that I'm dealing with. I can't fit them all into 1 hour. But what I will do, and I didn't write this down, but what I will do instead of a scary hour is I'll tell myself, okay, I have to do these three things, today, or these three things this week. And I might have a list of 10 things that need to get done, maybe not necessarily in that week, but I give myself three. If I can get these three done, that's great, you know. And just leave it at that. I try to make my list a little bit smaller, a little bit. You just get the urgent things done. I absolutely have to get these time sensitive things done this week. So I do them this week. And I won't try to fit it all into, say I'm doing it in the middle of the day. I won't try to fit it all into my lunch hour. Um, I'll just do maybe one thing. I made a phone call today at lunch, that I didn't want to make that turned out really well. I I didn't I didn't fill the whole hour with stuff, with tasks, because the days are long and you do need a little bit of a break. And if you get that one thing done, call it a win. Call it a win. You don't have to have a to-do list a mile long every single day. So yeah, just small bites. I think the whole idea behind my list of three, and the scary hour, is just small bites. Just take small bites of these things, you know. But take them consistently. I think consistency is probably the key, also to beating procrastination. My funny little faces. So your thought. Also, if you have things you maybe that look overwhelming. Maybe there's a big cleanup job you have to do at your house. Maybe there's, I don't know, just whatever it is, that book you want to write, even though it's something you want to do, you may be putting it off for some reason. But you can do anything for 15 minutes. Just give yourself 15 minutes, and just tell yourself you're going to do it for 15 minutes a day. That's actually, Mel Robbins actually has a tool that she has available out there, um, where that's part of it. You have a calendar for however 6 months, I think it is, and you write in the little squares, how much time you spend on it that day, and you're required to spend 15 minutes a day. What will happen a lot of times is you lose track of time. You're going to do the 15 minutes, but you get so into it, you get into the flow, and you wind up spending more time on it than you had planned. And that's a great way to train your brain that this task ain't so bad after all. So give yourself just 15 minutes a day to work on, to build the habit of doing that task. And maybe you don't think of it as a task, but build the habit of doing that activity every day or almost every day. And if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up about it. You're a human, not a robot. So that's why I tell myself all the time, Rhonda, you're a human, not a robot. Um, this is a question you can ask yourself. Number 3 is, this is also something that I got from the ether out there. What is the one thing I can do maybe it's tonight, you know, what is the one thing I can do today that will make tomorrow that much easier, or make me feel that much? What will impact my tomorrow the most if I get this thing done today? And go ahead and think about how wonderful it's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow ain't that long away, ain't that far away. So think about how wonderful that's going to feel tomorrow when you actually have that thing out of the way. Think of one. What is, what? I cleaned my desk the other day, because I really wanted to have it done for the next day so I could use it. So that was one thing, that I really needed to get done, and I would have put it off if I hadn't thought, what is the one thing that I really, want to have done tomorrow, and so that was it. So I did it. Uh, Motivation, kids. Sometimes it's all about that. Um, Here's another one, a quote from someone. I'm gonna have to start googling these things before I talk to you. You know how we say we're going to do that one day. We're going to do it one day. And, the day never comes. So it might be someone's slogan. I don't know. I can't get it out of my head today. So it goes, one day or day one. That probably belongs to one of those coaches out there. But that sounds like a dude thing. It sounds like one of those guys out there. Yeah, one day or day one. This can be day one of maybe just an experiment. Maybe the reason that you're procrastinating is, now there are many reasons, but one reason for procrastination is a fear of failure. And I personally think that when I get into fear of failure mode, it's because I'm trying to be a perfectionist. It's what does what does failure look like anyway? You're afraid to fail at this thing. What does failure look like? And you might find that if you answer that question, you're giving yourself a really weird answer. Like it means that I get every single bit of it right, even though I've never done this activity before. And you write it down on the paper and you see how silly an idea that is. Of course, it's going to look different in the beginning, than it looks a year from now, or 6 months from now, or a week from now even. Give yourself a break, and allow yourself to learn things and allow yourself to do things imperfectly. And I would say journal that out. I'm a big proponent of journaling, just to figure out the inside of your own head, because you have to figure out how this works in order to drive it well. So many of us don't know how our brain even works, and I'm not talking about the physical gooiness of the brain, and how the organ works. I'm talking about your specific brain, my specific brain. What are my triggers? What are my, you know, I want to do this thing. Why am I never doing it? There's some program running, under the surface there, that if we can figure it out, you know, we have, we have something to work with anyway. And one way to figure things out is when you finally, okay, if this is a task that you have to do on a regular basis, like, I don't know, clean something. There's something you don't want to clean. And for some reason, and it makes no sense that you don't want to do this thing, because it doesn't take that long, and you get into it once you're into it. But every time, it's a battle with yourself. Next time you actually do it, keep a pad, you know, handy, a pad and a pen, and write down what you're feeling as you're write down what you're feeling as you anticipate doing it. What are your emotions? What are your thoughts around it? Why don't you just ask yourself in the journal, why don't I want to do, why do I hate doing this activity so bad? What's so wrong with this? And you just let yourself go and write for, I don't know, give yourself 2 minutes or 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. Give yourself a set amount of time to just write as fast as you can. And you don't edit your thoughts. You don't tell yourself, well, that sounds stupid, I'm not going to write it down. Write it down. If it sounds stupid, and it's true, it's a thought you're actually having, then you can show yourself that maybe this isn't a realistic thought that I'm having. This isn't a realistic worry. And you can work, not that it will be, over, not that procrastination will be over the next week when you do it, but at least you'll have a handle on what's going on, and you can work with yourself. And maybe it's a case for reparenting. Maybe it's from something from childhood that you're going to discover. Who knows? I have some stuff like that, that I am actually working on reparenting myself around all that. And I think I'll tell you about it when I start talking about, I'm going to talk about reparenting yourself at some point, because that's a big one that everybody's talking about. But I noticed that a lot of people online are saying, what does that even mean? I don't know how to reparent myself. What am I supposed to do? And I didn't know either. And I haven't read a book on it or anything, but I have started figuring out some little things that work for me. But that's not for this episode. That's not for this episode. So figuring out the underlying issues. That's number 5. Cleaning is is one for me. I have to seriously work with that. There are a couple of things going on there, but and I should probably make a plan around it, because I should do that more. Um, I had to I had to it, phone calls around financial things sometimes, um like say you miss a payment for something, you forgot, I don't know, you forgot to make a payment. You get the notification, and the first thing that happens for me is, oh God, I'm embarrassed. Yeah, it's just embarrassing. There's a little bit of I forgot to do something important. um but also there's that little hint of, even though you could just call the people, say, hey, I forgot, I'm sorry, I'm going to send it now, and just do that. There's still that, for me, so much of my procrastination comes from this fear of getting into trouble. Um, and it's different with different activities. I getting into trouble. I mean, it's different with different activities. So the in trouble means something different, between this or that. Or I don't want to. I used to be like a huge people pleaser. So if I thought I was going to inconvenience anyone by doing that, even if it's something that needs to be done, even if it's cleaning, even if it's, something they want me to do, there's something in my brain that tells me, well, I can't do it right now because it might inconvenience them in some way. And I can come up with 1,000 and it's not that I don't want to do the thing. It's that I don't want to put anybody out by doing the thing, so and I also have a fear of doing things wrong, so there's a lot that goes on there. So that's something I'm working with myself about, but that causes me to put things off. um and the funny thing is, though, if I get over the procrastination with a particular activity, usually I can keep it going. Like this, I put off starting this channel or getting back to this channel for ages, for a long time. I thought about it for a long time before I actually sat down, what was it, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, and did the first one. Um, and that was the little perfectionism monster, biting me. I was telling myself, well, I could do this and this and this, I need to do this first and this first and this first. And maybe that's true, maybe that's how some people would do it, but I find for myself, just jumping in and making a mess of things is part of my process, and I just have to be okay with that. That's a part of my personality I wasn't really accepting, because so many people are, linear about it. They have this regimen that they do, and they figured it out, and they've read all the books, and I don't have that, and I need to just go in, do it, see what I don't like about it, and fix it a bit at a time. That's what I'm doing with this. And that's just how I work. And if someone sees this, and decides this channel is never going to be any better or never going to be different, then that's on them. That's their, they can do that. They can judge it, that way if they want. But I think they'll see differently. I can't work with something unless I have something to work with. I have to have something to edit. Maybe it's the artist in me. I have to throw things at the wall and make mistakes. And I think that one of you young people are saying cringe. I have to make it cringe first before I can uncringe it. you know. Um, so that's something I'm procrastinating now is I have a ring light over here. This other light it's a desk lamp. It's a desk lamp. I have ordered an additional ring light. I opened the box and I looked at all the stuff that needs to be put together, and I closed the box right back up. I did take it out of the bubble wrap. I did do that much. And that's something I'm procrastinating about right now. And in my head, I'm like, I don't. Why aren't you just putting that ring light together? And I I think the reason is I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to focus when I'm doing it, and I'm afraid I'm going to be frustrated. I'm afraid it's going to be frustrating. I haven't even sat down with it yet and looked at it. I just, I said, nope. right off the bat. Um, so I think that what I'm going to need to do to overcome that procrastination is to make it about make it about a practice around managing emotion, you know, so that if I do become frustrated, it's not a bad thing. It's not a failure. That's another thing. Un- uh, Hard emotions can often feel like a failure, and yeah, I think that's why I'm afraid I'm going to get frustrated because I might have difficulty focusing on it, and that will mean I'm a bad person and I'm just not ready yet to work with the the reparenting around letting myself know that I'm not a bad person. If I get frustrated, you know, if I if I feel frustrated putting together a ring light, you know, I mean, it's not like I'm not in danger of throwing it across the room or having a temper tantrum or anything. It's the feeling itself, not even how I handle the feeling. It's the feeling itself that causes me to have additional feelings around that feeling, you know, to feel like I have failed in some way because I am feeling an emotion. So, yeah, that may be a journal entry for later. But yeah, the reason I can come up with that stuff so fast is that I've been journaling these things for a few years now, trying to figure out, you know, what the inside of my, you know, how my brain works and why I react, you know, in the ways that I do, so that I can overcome these things. So that's some fun. So, and it's different. These three activities: making a difficult phone call, you know, cleaning stuff around cleaning, and putting things together. Those are three different. I have three different reasons for procrastinating those things. So you just kind of have to work. It's not a one size fits all for me. It's not a one size fits all for anyone probably. Number six. Uh, for me, I don't know if this is a hack. This is not particularly a hack. This is something I figured out about myself. So number six is also a thing um, that can go under figuring out the underlying issues. For me, I procrastinate anything that looks like maintenance activities because maintenance activities do not feel productive to me. I don't know why. Probably going to have to journal it. But it feels like a waste of time. And I know it's not a waste of time. Maintenance activities are one of the most important things you can do. I work at an auto shop. I will tell people, go get your oil change. It's the most important thing you can do for your vehicle. You know, and people put it off probably for the same reason. You know, that's one thing I don't put off. I am like psycho about getting my oil changed. But certain maintenance activities just, you know, why do I have to do this? Um and it's, you know, it's a no-brainer. It's obvious. It's common sense why you have to do that. But for me it's just it's difficult for that reason. I feel like I'm wasting time. I feel like I should be doing something else. That's a big one for me. Did I choose the right activity to do at this time? And um, I I know where that came from. I didn't always have that. I know where that came from, and I am working with myself to kind of undo that that way of thinking. So um, there's no right way. I'm trying to teach myself there's no right way to do life, you know, as long as something works for you. Other people do things differently. So if it works for you, then it works. It's fine. If you're happy with it, it's fine. Um, there are some, I guess this is number seven. I'm not sure this list is it really works in the way that I thought it worked for a second. We tell ourselves lies, I think, that lead to procrastination. And I touched on perfection, lies around perfectionism. You know, it has to be perfect. Um, this isn't really something that people procrastinate. They just either do it or they don't. But take for instance dancing. People don't want to dance because it that they feel, I think, that it has to be perfect. They don't want to look silly. They don't look like a professional when they're doing it, so they don't want to do it. But it's not, you know, it's one of the most natural activities you can possibly do. Dancing is very natural and healthy and all those things, but it's not really a procrastination thing. But yeah, perfectionism is probably one of the biggest things. And I would say if you have something in your life that you are putting off doing because you're afraid of failing or because you're afraid of doing it badly, think of someone in your life who can do that, who does do that thing. Maybe it's cooking. I don't know. Um, Maybe they're a better cook than you, but surely they've made mistakes. Didn't they? Have they burnt a roast? And did you judge them for that? Sometimes we judge ourselves, a lot more harshly than we judge, the people around us. I know I'm definitely guilty of that. Definitely. Um, I've noticed people doing things. I've noticed friends doing things, and um, I have something around not doing stuff quickly enough. And I was watching a friend do, do something. One time, I think they were like unpacking some food or something, and doing it very slowly and deliberately. And I thought, I don't, I don't let myself do that. I don't. I feel self conscious if I'm doing something slowly. I feel like I should be doing it more quickly. And I know where that came from. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. If you've been criticized in a certain way in the past, sometimes that will stick with you. But if you can see someone else doing it in a different way and see that that is okay, it's okay for them, so it's okay for you as well, and you can give yourself a break on that. You'll have to work with yourself a little bit on that, but you know, it's a process. It's all a process. Yeah. Oh, here's a big one. I will put something off because I don't have 2 hours to do it. Whether it's writing something, whether it's I don't know working out, whether it's going for a walk. I don't have X amount of time to do that. And I feel like that's a lie I tell myself, that I need that large chunk of time every single time I'm going to do it, you know, or I have to be sure that I'm in this flow state when I do it. That's nice. That's nice when it happens. But if your expectation bar is set that high for every single time, you're not going to want to do it because you're going to be afraid you're not going to be able to reach that state or do it that way that time. Rehearsals sometimes. I mean, you theater guys know that sometimes you have a great rehearsal, and sometimes the rehearsal stinks for whatever reason. Everybody's having an off day that day, but you show up and do it. And it doesn't mean that you wasted that time. You got real work done. It just didn't feel as good, you know, that week as it did the week before. Sometimes it feels awful, when you're creating, and that's okay. Um, Sometimes it feels great. You can't, don't chase the dragon. Don't get caught up in chasing the dragon. Just do your work and enjoy the times when it feels great, and just get through the times when it doesn't. Um, because I guarantee you, showing up and making that consistent effort, you know, you you probably had that good rehearsal, that second time because you showed up for that first one. You know, it's so good work was done. It just didn't feel like it at the time, and that's something I really have to learn to to believe, I guess, you be okay with the work not feeling, you know, great that time. I mean, you show up for work every day. You show up for your job every day, and I'm sure whether you feel like it or not. So, um, just do yourself a favor, and some things you're never going to feel like doing. It's just the way it is. You're not going to be ready to start that project. You're not going to be ready to do this thing. You're not going to feel ready, you know, but do it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? Um, so also, another lie that I tell myself is progress, productivity, and success. Uh, it's hard work, therefore it's torture. And sometimes it may be, but it doesn't have to be. You know, it doesn't have to be a grind all the time, no matter what you're doing, even if it's some mundane task. It doesn't. You don't have to think of it as a grind. You can look at it and say, well, where's the fun in this? Can I make this fun? Can I make this something that feels fulfilling? Maybe painting a wall can become a meditative act. Maybe, you know, cleaning can become a meditative. I know it is for a lot of people, and I'm trying to get in on that. So, um, I'm working on focusing on different aspects of that, instead of the thoughts I was having before. So, anyway, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for talking to myself here. I don't even know. I'll be honest. I don't even know if anybody is going to be able to watch this video afterwards. I have to test that out and see. I may just be practicing talking to myself, just, into the wind. So we will see. We will see. But anyway, thank you for showing up or not showing up or showing up in the future. Future people, thank you when you find me. I love you. And again, I'm going. My next one will probably be. I don't know why I'm saying probably. I'm trying to stay on schedule. Saturday morning, hopefully earlier than last week. So Saturday, I will see you. And I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about. Um, but I love you. Bye bye. Where is my theme? I'm gonna do one of these days. I'm going to be able to in these streams in a less awkward way because I'm not gonna start editing these until I have time.